on how to show the products and stuff, and I might require V to actually hold something. But so I picked up I took a few things from my stash, as well as the new blush. Oh my gosh, the new blush. Honestly, everyone, this is one of those amazing bomb sort of products that is just too pretty for words to start with. And then you get to the scent and you're just floored because it's amazing. And then you see how it works on your skin and you just don't want to go back. I mean, well, none of us, I think, wants to go back from Sabbatical Beauty because now we've all had it. We know the good stuff. So I grabbed a few things, like I said, to go through a few different things and give people some ideas on other bits. So I'm going to show you the stuff that I brought down from my room, and tell you a little bit about each of them and how I feel they do or don't work or compare to the blush beauty oil, and take questions that you guys have while we're going. Is really cool. So I'm going to turn the camera around and hopefully be able to see what it is I'm showing you, which would be really nice. So I flipped the camera really hard just now. Hopefully it's still going. And you can see I have well, that was my couch and my upside down. So much for multitasking. So I've got my chamomile cream, my calm, my snow, and the jar of Ekaterina that really is just about dead, but I have another one upstairs, so don't worry too much. And then I also brought down my bottle of Camellia Gold oil, which is really, again, just beautiful, and it does fabulous things for your face. There's the blush that I'm going to be formally reviewing, and also the Dorian Gray oil. I brought that down too to compare, so you can see a little bit of what each of them is like, except that the Dorian Gray just fell down, so we'll see how I do with that. So here we go. So blush is one of those later step things. All of the facial oils are really later step things because they're the last seal sort of on your face, and they're the last bit that you want to have really soak in and go in really nicely. So different oils have different weights, and many of us know that. Not everybody does, but different oils have different weights. Different oils have different reasons and things that we use them for. The Dorian Gray, for instance, is really great because it has that retinol in it and it helps to ease some of the lines. I really do have lines, I swear, and they're ugly, but SB helps me keep them at bay. And so the Dorian Gray is an oil that I generally prefer to use at night. If I'm going to use an oil at night, that's the one I'm going to usually reach for. The Camellia Gold oil is the other really daytime SB oil, and I'm going to shake it up a little bit so that you can see the gold pieces really go through there. And what happens is that gold just sort of fills in a lot of the little lines that you don't notice that you have, and they're it also adds an extra layer of sparkle to your face, but it's heavier than the blush oil is. The smell is somewhat similar because both of them have the Camellia oil in it. However, yeah, now I'm doing really bad things because it makes me look fat. I'm going face down. However, some of the things that are in the blush are slightly different, so the scent is slightly different. So here is, there we go. There's the blush. So that's what the blush looks like on. You can see how fast that ran down. So that was really quick. And I'm going to just rub that up my arm a little bit because that was a little more than I wanted to do, but hey. Yes, more sniffing. We all love to do that. Adeline has just the best, absolute best smells. And Victoria just said, mm-hmm. So yes, I'm closing that up right now. And then I'm going to take the Camellia Gold and I'm going to do just a little drop of the Camellia Gold on my hand to give you an idea of the difference, that and the blush. So there's the Camellia Gold right there, and you can see how it's not running down my hand as fast as the blush did. So that's part of what shows you that it's a little heavier oil. The piece on my skin also had just a little bit of gold in it, not a lot. So that's okay. It works out pretty well. And now my hand smells freaking amazing. Okay, one of the little trick things that I like to do is my face, when it gets dry, it gets really seriously dry. So one of the little trick things that I like to do occasionally is I'll do a drop of blush and a drop of the Camellia Gold oil. So I get the happiness from both of them, but I have to make sure that I'm only doing 1 drop of the Camellia Gold to 2 drops of blush if I do that, because otherwise the weight of the Camellia Gold becomes a little bit much, and that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for something so weighty. So here you can see my hand is, most of it is pretty well sunk in already. That was like no time. That was what, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. So that's how that works pretty well. And I also like the fact that if you mix a little bit of both of them, then you get both of the smells. And I'm a scent person. I really like the scents. So they go in really well. They go in really easy. Now, to give you a little sense of something different, I'm going to take the Calm Cream and I'm going to put just a little smidge of Calm on one spot. So that's the Calm. It's going to go right there on that first knuckle. And then I'm going to take Camel Milk and I'm going to put that down in between the second and third knuckle. Right. And Snow is going to be the other one, because Snow is a little bit heavier. It's more of a winter moisturizer, so it's definitely heavier. It has a little bit more weight to it. So there is the Snow on the bottom. And last but definitely not least, the Ekaterina. Although I told you it's really, really scarce in this jar. I'm so happy I have another one. But yeah, look at that. Look at that. I use this stuff. This is one of my loves. Yeah, Victoria just said all the time. Yes, all the time. So I'm going to put the Ekaterina over there. Now the textures of those compared to the oil, they start out a lot heavier, which makes sense because they are creams. I mean, they are physically there, as opposed to the oil that runs down your hand, it runs off your face and takes a little bit more time. But what you can see here is how each of them go in to my skin is also a little different from the oil. So all I've done is just wiped across on each of those. And you can see how the Camel Milk stays a little bit more. It shows up a little bit more. The Calm soaks in more. It soaks in faster, I guess I should say. Not really more, but it soaks in faster. And then the Snow really is still there. That's still very, very wet, very damp. The Ekaterina, that just feels like silk. I could rub that stuff all day. It feels like silk. But it's also going to take a few minutes. You can see the shine on the back of my hand. It's going to take a few minutes for all of that to settle in. And you can see on the back of my other hand where I had the Camellia Gold and the blush, how much farther in that's all done. There's nothing left there. There's no oily feeling, no slick feeling. It works out really nice. So the amount of speed with which they soak into the skin, the creams compared to the oils, is very different. The oils should soak in much faster. If they're not, then you're probably using a bit too much, so you'll want to cut back a bit. At most, I generally, on my face itself, use 3 drops of any oil. I usually put a drop at the top and a drop on each cheek, and then I'll wipe up and go over, and I'll show you that in just a minute with the blush. And when I'm using the Camellia Gold and the blush, what I do is I put the Camellia Gold on the top and then the blush on the sides, partially because my chin is where I tend to have breakouts more, and partially because I have more lines here and here than I do here. So I want that gold, those gold flecks, to fill in those lines a little bit better. I still do pronunciation really. I'm sorry about the pronunciation. So these are some of the things that I really like about the differences. And the way that we layer, always going from lightest to more heavy. Again, this goes back to why the oil is one of the last steps, but not always the last step. You can have the oil as your final step. Particularly in the summer, blush is a really good finisher because it's light enough, but it's also an oil, so it really does seal stuff in pretty well. And I like that about it. So, oh no, I don't mix them on my hand, Natalie. I just do a drop at the top and a drop on each thing, and you're gonna get to see me do my drops, because it's just, to me, it's easier, and then I'm not getting any contamination from my hands, which, as you noticed with my creams, I do dip my fingers in, but I try to remember to do different fingers when I'm doing the dips. And I have, you'll love my little coaster. This is a coaster that we had made when we went to Maine last year, and from an artist in Gloucester, and so we had her make several different ones for us, and I just love them. I think they're really cute. So the way that I apply my facial oils, and here you go, is a drop on one, a drop on the other, and a drop at the top. And then I carefully look over and put the lid back on, and I twist it because I don't need to be, I am already in that club, so I don't really need extra membership. And you can sort of see, so this drop here started up here, it's already down here. So again, that speaks to the lightness of this oil, how very light it is, and how very easy it is to go in. You can see it just, my skin is just sucking it up right now because it really wanted it. Shortly before I started this, I went upstairs and I washed my face with a little bit of goat milk and rice cleanser, and then I put a little bit of toner on and some peat and some 4T, because I still have a little bit of 4T, happily. And then I came down, so I had my face all prepped and ready to take some blush. Now you can see right now I'm a little bit shiny from it, but I'm not a glowing beacon. And it is so I can feel it soaking in. My skin goes from dry to not. It's not generally dry overall. I definitely have patches of dryness, places where it's drier. For instance, over here gets very, very dry on me. But at the same time, just adjacent to that right here tends to be pretty normal toward oily. My chin tends toward being oily, And my forehead tends toward being dry, which is why I think I have more creases there. So that's kind of my skin. It really does go all over. I don't have a specific singular place of, I know that this is always dry. I don't have that. I know that I always have this spot, and now it has a little pear over here that's coming. I don't know why. So I'm thinking a bit more glow would do me some good. But one of the other nice things about blush is to have it in the sample size is really nice in summer, because in winter, typically right across here and here, I know that other people have talked about those areas, get really kind of dry or crusty or even flaky. And so in the wintertime, a lot of the time, I have my Ekaterina with me. I have a little sample of Ekaterina with me all the time in my purse. In the summertime, I like to carry a little sample of blush for the same reason. If I get a spot or a bit that is that's a little bit dry or drier than I like, or I notice that I'm starting to dry out, then I know that I can just use a dab or two of a drop or two of blush, and it really makes it all lighten up, and it revives my skin. It just revives it. It plumps it back up. It makes it feel soft, and it rehydrates it almost instantly. One of the other really great things about blush is that to use it for a facial massage is positively heavenly, and the rehydration that your skin gets from that, it can be really big, because I've noticed that when I do a facial massage, obviously your face is going to suck it in a little bit more because you're encouraging it. You're really encouraging it. And I have found several times that when I'm doing a facial massage with blush, my skin really drinks it in the dry spots. And it seems to be more effective than just putting on a cream in order to alleviate that dryness in a longer time frame. So, yes, now my fingers all smell like all the wonderful things. I love it, I love it, I love it. But, so the differences between some of these products may sound like they're not so much, but they really are, considering you're talking about putting it on a very sensitive surface for most people and mashing it around or patting it on and trying to get it to actually go into your skin. The Camellia Gold is fabulous. I love it. But it is definitely heavier than blush, which is why part of what makes blush a perfect spring, summer facial oil is that you can have it all year round and it's lighter. It feels really good. So does anybody have questions for me that I haven't answered, or things that I haven't covered yet? The differences between the creams and the oils are fairly obvious. The oils are definitely lighter. Even the heaviest oil, which is the Camellia Gold, even that is lighter than any of the creams. So it works out pretty well. So I'm running up at 7:30. So anybody have questions? I'm looking to see if I have more questions coming up. Not seeing any. Well, thank you, Carol. That's very sweet of you to say about my skin. I'm in a not brightly lit room. I'm not in a, so you can't really see all of the horrible things. I use the oils off and on. Sometimes, Madeline, sometimes I will use them twice a day. In the winter, I generally use them twice a day. That's almost a given for me. I'll use Camellia Gold or the blush in the morning and daytime, and then switch and use the Dorian Gray at night. I use the Dorian Gray frequently all through the year, but only in the evening, especially in the summertime. The blush and the other, I use those all the time. And it depends on the weather too. If it's a rainy, humid day, I'm not gonna use them. If I use any of them, it would be just a little bit of blush. But if it's a regular normal day, I usually throw them on because they soak into the skin so quickly, and it really helps with a lot of that fine line reduction and in appearance. Oh, I'm glad you like the difference between the creams and the oils, because that was something that I thought, not everybody understands what the differences are and why each one has its own place. So, any other questions? Thank you, Adeline. I tried to be great. I work at it. Oh, yeah. Any of those, any tips and tricks and things that people want, especially if you're new, ask questions all over the place. Everybody loves it when you ask questions, because then you're actually getting the information that you need instead of just stabbing in the dark, which none of us like to do, but many of us do anyway, because we think we can do it ourselves, and we're all here for you. So ask the questions out. Let us know. Other questions or comments? Anything else that I can clear up or help? Yeah, mixing the oils I really like doing that. And sometimes in the evening, I'll do a little bit of blush with my Dorian Gray oil just for the scent of it, just to get that blush scent, because it's amazing. I constantly feel like I'm in a garden when I do my skincare. It helps. It works. It just makes everything so much better, so nice. You're welcome, Deb. Hello. You're welcome. So yeah, I do recommend getting sample sizes of the other oils to try and see how you like their weight and see how they work for you, and to see if the mixture of a couple of them is really what your skin wants and what will help your skin be even better, which is why we're all here, other than the fact that Adeline is great and Sabbatical Beauty is amazing, and we all just have to keep going. Oh, I'm sorry you got interrupted so much, Madeline. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. But as always, if anybody has any questions for me, you can send me a private message. You can throw something up on the wall, and I'm happy to respond to it. And I get to things as fast as I can. I know that sometimes I'm a little bit later than other times, but I work it. It's kind of hard. And just for reference, just to give you a little bit of an idea of something kind of cool. So this is me now, and this is me climbing all over my furniture to do this. And that is a photograph of me when I was 20, I want to say 23 or so. So Sabbatical Beauty is really helping me get that look back. And I really love it. I love it. I promote Sabbatical Beauty, and I tell everybody about Sabbatical Beauty because I don't ever want it to go away. It has to stay forever. Adeline, you are never allowed to retire or die. I just want you to know that, because my skin would be horrific and I would not be happy. So I'm sure other people feel the same way. Well, I don't have any other questions coming in, so I'm going to say goodbye, and thank you all for tuning in. Bye-bye.